claims in the amount of $569,524.50.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Danielle, you have anything else?
I know.
Okay. Yeah, let's see. Sheriff's report, total prisoners 64, 9 releases this past week. Prisoners in 62, farmed out 2. Total farmed in is 51. 911 calls 63, total jail contacts 4118. Total calls for service 413. Total civil service papers served 12. Bin inspections 3. New cases opened 15. Cases closed 3. Vehicle crashes 7. SRO activities 25. Bailiff contacts 74. 0 livestock out. AMR.
Good morning, Don Brooks with AMR, with the monthly report for February. This month, so far, we've had 11 calls in Blue Mound, 3 transports, 7 calls in Centerville, 0 transports, 14 calls in Lacine, 5 transports, 5 calls in Linn Valley, 4 transports, 17 calls in Mound City, 12 transports, 3 calls in Parker, 1 transport, 25 calls in Pleasanton, 18 transports, 5 calls in Prescott, 4 transports for a total of 87 calls and 47 transports. Anything else?
Everything
I don't
else
have
good?
anything.
Everything's good.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I just wanted to remind you, March 3rd, we have the AMR
Yep.
contract. So,
I'll be ready.
all right. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you. Randy? Yes, I'm not following them. So I'll pay a little more attention.
Good morning, Commissioners. Randy Hickman, Linn County Emergency Management and Rural Fire. I'm going to start out with the calls. I was going to change it a little bit. I spoke to a citizen and wanted to kind of give a little more information this time. I think you probably noticed it when I sent it out. So for the week, we had 16 calls. Busy week for the firefighters, especially being with as cold as it was. Brings your yearly total up to 73. Those calls break down as listed. On the fire, we had 3 structure fires. One of those was a follow-up. We had to go back out and put some hot spots out. We had 1 wildland fire. On the rescue side, we had 4 crashes. We assisted EMS 7 times, and then service calls, we had 2 fire investigations. They're follow-ups from the structure fires. Tonight at 6 p.m. in Pleasanton at the community building, Jacob Lanier will be there with Fox 4 Weather doing a public training and weather talk. It's free to the public, so everybody's welcome. And just remind you that the 30th is the 9:30 Centerville Station chili feed, and that's all online and on our website too. So that is all I have, unless you guys have something else.
I don't have anything.
I don't have anything.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Randy.
Chris, how long is it going to take with you? Is it? Yeah.
I'm giving you the information.
Tell you what, Rick wants a little time to he wants to talk about our state representative, Rick James, if we let him go. And he's got different appointments.
Well, thank you, Commissioners. Rick James, District 4 Representative. I just want to give you a little legislative update about what's going on in Topeka. It's our week 6 that we just ended, and we did about 300 bills over that period of time, and we have one that's going to go into law, and that's Senate Bill 63, the Help Not Harm. It's a bill that was passed by 2/3 majority and overrides the governor's veto on that. So that bill will go into law, and I serve on 4 committees up there: Fed and State, Corrections, Insurance, and Elections. So there's something in each one I wanted to talk a little bit about today. For you all, I know the county clerks will probably see this as well as the treasurers and DMV. There's a bill that's coming out that will require the DMV to turn over any list of non-citizens, because now if you're not a citizen, you can still get a driver's license. So they want non-citizens, if that becomes law, to go to that list will go to the Secretary of State. They'll scrub the list and send back these should not be on your elections, and then it'll be up to the county clerks, the elections officer, not the county clerk, but the elections officer, to remove those names. Another bill is first time in Kansas history, they say, I don't know how it could be, but there was a county office seat that no one ran for. It was a county clerk on Wayne County or some county out west, and no one ran for it. And the current law says if nobody runs for an elected office, that the governor gets to appoint. So the law that we put in will change that back to the counties. Will be responsible for electing individuals which it should be elected for running for office or for appointments. And there's another list that'll come out for elections officers, letting them use funeral homes. There's a lot of people on the rolls throughout Kansas that have passed away, and sometimes it's hard to get them removed because they don't have maybe the evidence that they need. So allowing whatever evidence they can get from the funeral homes to remove them from the roster. And the Appropriations Committee is met. They've done their budget, and they did it different this year. They went before usually the governor submits her budget, and they work off of that. So they started at day one, and they worked it, and then the governor submitted her budget. We were $162 million less than the governor's budget, so it passed out of the House. It's over in the Senate now, and they'll do some work to it as well, and then it'll come back for another vote, I would think, and then it'll go over to the governor for a signature, and we'll see what happens with that. So, property tax valuations, there was a Senate bill that came out. Senator Tyson wrote 3% cap on property evaluations. It came over to the House, and that's probably where it's going to stay. It's probably not going to get moved anywhere. The House thinks they have a better bill, so they'll send that over to them. Somewhere in between, one of those bills will come out and be voted on by both sides and send it to the governor's office. I think that's about it. I just wanted to update you real quick. I'm here on a Monday because we're in what's called turnaround. And so when we voted on all those bills that I was talking about that we worked on for all these times in the committees, those bills have to be filed and moved over to the Senate, and all the Senate bills moved over. So we have a 4-day week, 4 days off, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and today, and then we'll be back tomorrow morning, going at it again till April. So if you got any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
I don't have anything.
I don't think I have anything.
All right. Thank you. And don't be over budget like we are.
Thanks, Rick.
Keep them under control. Chastity.
I was gonna say really quick on Chastity coming up here. She's asking for legal too. Can you? Oh, okay.
He's going to be here at 10 o'clock. or
10
something.
o'clock. Okay. I didn't have that on there.
He'll be around here at 10. So
10 a.m. Okay. Good morning.
Good morning. I don't have a lot for you today. I just want to give an update on a couple things in regards to the ARPA funds. With money that has come out and been reimbursed from before, so our balance is at $418,954.29 at this time. I gave you a little update in regards to Historical Society. I will be putting those minutes on the website before the week is over, hopefully. And then I wanted to give you an update in regards to Carrie Spoon will be here March 10th to introduce herself and kind of give a little overview of what Southeast Kansas Regional Planning Commission does for us. And then the only thing I have is I don't need legal, but I do need about 10 minutes for non-elected personnel. And that can be whenever. It doesn't need to be right now.
okay.
Can you add Carrie Spoon to the agenda?
I think it's already there.
Okay.
Yeah. I had told her, but not told you guys last week. So
10 minutes for non-elected with you. We'll get you in there in a little bit.
No problem. Thank you. Any questions?
Set a date for going over the website, what we've found
Sure.
for the agenda.
Yeah. Give me, I need a few weeks, a couple weeks though. What, do you have the calendar in front of you?
You want to do,
I'm waiting on one gentleman to get with me, and then I've had to reach out to OpenGov. They actually just contacted me right before I came in here, so I needed to talk to them about that.
why
What
don't you
did,
just let us know next week what day?
okay, that would be perfect.
And then when you're ready, you can just have her put it on.
Okay, sounds great.
Need to come back to us.
Any other questions?
I don't
No,
have.
that's-
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay. Let's see, Chris.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chris.
I'm coming here at your request for a couple of things. One of the big ones that you had asked for previously was the pricing for the online service requests with PubWorks. I got this morning. They just sent this to me. But if you look at the very back page, that was an email that was sent to me, which has the pricing for what the PubWorks service, online service request looks like, or not looks like, but the cost of it. I did ask them for a screenshot, which they actually just sent me moments ago. But it does basically, I think what you're asking, where the public would go to our website, they would click a link, which would open up to whatever their service is. It asks them for their address, the same, like a location, whatever their service request is about. When they submit that, then it will email the individual, if they put in an email address, an immediate response that it was received, as well as put that into our PubWorks software.
And some people already using this, or
Like other places,
no? There wasn't people that could call in and use this now.
not this.
Okay.
So we have a form on our website, but what that does is sends an email to Joyce. And then Joyce is entering that information herself. This would simply be an automated process of doing that. It doesn't, I will tell you, it doesn't update the individual throughout everything that's done. So let's just think of like a tree down, right? It will send them an email and say that their service request had been successfully submitted and was in our system, and it will give them back a number, is my understanding, so that they can reference that with whoever to say, hey, I submitted this a week ago. Here's my number. What's the status? But as the crews, maybe they go out, I looked at the tree, I need to have a piece of equipment. It's not going to send an update every time.
Until it's finished.
Bingo. And they said that it will tell them when the ticket was closed. They'll get an email when it was closed. So,
The 950s,
yeah, so they're saying that the $950 would be the yearly cost, and the $1,250 is the one-time setup with whatever that involves. I'm sure there might be, I doubt there's really much training there because, Joyce already knows. It's just basically entering it into the system from the website and then responding to the individual. So I don't know how much training there would be, but it would be a $1,250 one time and then a $950 per year for that service.
So on top of the 3,800, we're adding 950 to provide an automated response
Yep.
when they submit it and when it's completed.
Yes.
how much did you say it was before?
3,800,
3,800 a year?
what we have now. I would like to look into it a little bit more,
fine.
and kind of go over this. So it just seems like such an easy thing to add on $1,000 a year, but
Yeah, I'm just letting you know that's what they sent back.
I had a question because a lot of times when they put in a
Joyce, hold on a
description,
second. Can we get her a mic? Is there one available?
they're not charged. Maybe we can scoot Jen's a little bit closer.
Sorry. We'll share.
So my question, when they currently send them, they maybe will say on 1150 road, east of whatever road, there's a down tree. Is the system able to figure out where that's at?
So they punch in an address like they do now, and there would be a description box that they would fill out. However, that's happening now. As far as the system figuring it out, I know that it gives them a screen. One of the screenshots they sent shows like a Google Maps window, and it shows a latitude and longitude on there. So, I think that's how it's sort of telling the customer, the citizen.
They'll
that-
select where on the map.
So I don't know if it's, again, I haven't actually personally clicked this, right? They just sent me the screenshots. I don't know if they're clicking on a map and saying, this is where it is. What we'd have to see on that.
I guess my question on our current website, is this something that you created or is
Yeah,
it something
it's just,
you've created
yeah,
what's currently on there?
correct. It's just an email form
Just
is
an
all that is.
email. Okay. You see what he means? So this is when we have a road problem, he's created this box. He's created all of this. So when they click submit, then it just emails Joyce. And then Joyce has to take everything and re-enter, correct? Everything that they put in there, she's now re-entering into PubWorks.
So this would go directly to
To PubWorks.
PubWorks.
Yep,
I think so.
yep, it would.
Why are they not providing it with what we have now? I guess that's where my question would be. We're paying for the software, but what part are we paying for out of? Is
So that's,
that what you're gonna get into?
well, I don't know how much I'll get it, but that's what this document, they just sent that to me today. And you can see there's multiple modules. So we don't have all the modules. Service requests is a module that we have, but online service requests is not one that we purchased originally.
What do we get for the 3,800?
Well, they don't have that up. There's I know, and this may be more of a Joyce and Sean question, but I know we get fleet maintenance. We get the asset management. We get the service requests and work orders, and we also do mobile for the road crews to enter their work out in the field. And yeah, and mapping. Yeah, reporting and mapping. There is one that's called inspections. We don't have that one.
Is it something we could have?
Inspections?
Yeah, with what we pay?
No. Again, that's a module that would have to be added on.
The one thing that, correct me if I'm wrong, that the online doesn't do, that Joyce does do, is email the foreman with that service request. So with this, the service request would just go, right?
My question, where does it go? Because
Right.
how are they gonna know who to send it to?
Yeah, that was my next question too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a good
Well,
question.
would it go to you and then you send it to where
And
you
then they,
need it to
so
go?
I've,
Joyce sends it to me and then the foreman of that area, so I get everything they get. So I can follow up on it and see where it is. So it doesn't just go directly just to one person, I'll get it to, and the staff will get it Pleasanton or Lacey.
So right now, if you look at the map, and I don't know how well you can see it, but this red line right through here is splitting the north and south districts. And then the blue area is Todd's. So I send it depending on who it's assigned to, foreman wise, based on what road it is.
Well, I feel like that's something that could be easily figured out in PubWorks where it goes based on our districting maps through GIS.
I believe we now have it set up on the roads for what district it is, but I think it's only 1 and 3 because we've not, I don't think, added 2 because that was just decided a few months ago.
Okay. So I guess a couple of questions. I've reached out to Johnson County, Overland Park, Miami, different counties and what they're using. I feel like if we're going to be looking into adding modules into PubWorks, we should just be reevaluating the entire program. Possibly. They use Central Square. Also, GIS mapping. Have we worked with Pam on anything regarding PubWorks and road systems?
Yes.
Okay. Because a lot of these counties are directly working with their GIS mapping to provide this information and transparency to the public. If you look at Overland Park, you can see an interactive map of everywhere that was plowed within 24 hours with snow, and that's through their GIS. If you go on like Johnson County right now, they can show everything that what they're going to be going in for overlay or striping. It will tell if there's road closures. It will tell you a lot of information.
As far as
We're gonna
coverage
reevaluate.
goes, anything that's been done to that road that has been entered online, you can look at the road section. So just for example, I probably could put mine on here. And I'm gonna blow this up. So if I want to look and see what all's been done on 800 and up an hour based on what the crews have entered, we do have that available out here with the record. So again, I don't know how big make that. So like hauling rock, we did it on February the 3rd for that section of road. Graded, so I don't know if you can see any of that. But every time we do something to that section of road, it's gonna be recorded out there under that section of road.
And are we available? Did you look into the mobile module if the commissioners would be able to
So,
have
yeah.
a mobile map app?
So the mobile app, of course, can be installed on a cell phone. I mean, that's how we use it with most of them now. It's really designed for inputting information, but if you're wanting to look up information, it has basic lookup. It's certainly not this. I mean, the mobile platform is a very basic thing. What Joyce has is like the world, but that requires, a lot more input and things, and then also a Windows machine. So the answer is, yeah, we can absolutely, put the mobile app on a cell phone, to where you can look up, but I will tell you, it's just not as friendly as that is, but that also is very complicated. I mean, what Joyce goes through, you've seen all these screens, and there's a lot of information that's in there that Joyce can get to and deal with, where the mobile app is intended to be just that, mobile and just basic. And that may serve what you're asking for.
And Joyce, are you the only one that knows this program in and out?
The majority of it, yes, but Jesse, the road foreman can access this on a desktop as well. And I've walked them through a few basics when they ask. So it's all Windows based. So out here, we've got our daily activities. We've got our mobile entries. If you want me to show you how they enter their mobile, I can do that. You just let me know what you want to see.
Well, what's the most recent complaint that's been sent in?
I just had one this morning, so let's go to service request. Let me sort here. So the one that came in over the weekend, 1150 Road from Thomas West needs rock. So I just set this one up this morning. That's Todd's area. So here I assigned it to Todd, put it in as gravel. The road is 1150 Scott. The caller's name was Travis Labor and his phone number, and then I put his comments in there.
And now do we go, so let's say we're blading roads, and then as these requests come in, is it like we just jump on the request and go do it, or do we complete tasks and then put
Well,
these in some sort of order?
That's probably Jesse's. I put them in on my end as I get them. The foreman then will schedule it. So if it's something like a driveway entrance needing done, they'll schedule that. If it's a down tree, they will immediately, they will set the priority. I don't do that. The foreman do.
So if like one person is asking for gravel, Jesse, do you just take gravel to that person, or do you try to like do the road?
A lot of the time,
Come up here to talk, would you?
no. So you got to prioritize it in the need of what you're asking. So a lot of these roads, when they say, hey, I need gravel, well, the road may be wet. It necessarily doesn't need gravel. It may just need graded and crowned back up and rolled out so the water will drain off. 90% of the time, that's what I run into. And so when they ask for gravel, we'll go and work the road over, then lay gravel down. So the other day, Jim had texted me and said, hey, we got a culvert, looks like it's failing. So I went and checked it out. It was failing. It was coming apart. That one we got right on because that is a main road. Everybody travels up and down it. Trees that are down, we get calls on those. We hit those ones. It's not that we're going to just jump on every one of them that come in. You got to prioritize what's going to be necessary first. Everybody's got their own priority of what they want done, but you can't just take, if I got a blade on this end of their area and it's clear over on this end, it's going to take a minute to get there, to get back over there. We may be in the middle of 2 or 3 different culvert replacements and I just don't have the guys to get there right now. So prioritizing them, we leave up to me and the foremans to say, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is where we're going to attack this. This is what we're going to take care of right now.
So if he just, puts in a complaint wanting gravel, it's not something that they just go straight out and just take the gravel. You're going to
Correct.
assess the situation.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, perfect. Can you go back to the 800 and, well, I just drove 800 road yesterday, all the way to State Line. Who takes care of State Line also?
So that's in Todd's area. Yep.
Okay.
But might be the state line, could be part of it's
thought
ours and
some
the
of it
other half
was
Missouri's
Missouri.
too,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
But the state line, anytime it's a county line or a state line.
Right.
We split it.
It's like we frog hop every mile, every 2 miles, and take care of that portion of the road. So
So once I hit like Waddles and then White, I could definitely see a decline in the potholes. And then I know that the snow is melt. I know that, but I just went and drove through there. So I would like to have a conversation later about that road. But do you feel like adding the module? I mean, to me, it'd be beneficial to citizens, but I also feel like in general, the entire process, Pub Works, Central Square, what we choose to use, might need to be evaluated. I still feel like it's kind of confusing on exactly what we're paying for and what we're not utilizing. Do you feel that way? I don't understand it still, but
There's a lot of things I could show you what it does. We probably don't have time today.
Right.
I mean, if you want to come in and sit with me sometime, I can show you. Well, I mean, all of our equipment is in here. All of our work is in here. All of our building locations are in here. All of the bridge information is in here. So,
Are you the only one that actually puts information into it, Joyce, or is there?
well, it's set up for based on what we pay for. So I don't know how to explain that, Chris, as far as, I don't set it up in here as far as what's available, but if we, I'm trying to think of an example. If we decide we purchase a new county building and we need to add that building in here, then I will create a record for that building.
so when I've asked the courthouse, like, what buildings do we own? What are we even maintaining? You're
I
saying
can get you that.
you have all that information.
Yes.
See, that's interesting to me of why I feel like no one, like she knows, but we should all know.
So we have locations out here and we have buildings. So a list would be, I could provide you a list of all the buildings that we have because they all have their own code assigned to them.
Okay. Well, and I think GIS mapping had it too. Not the court, not the clerk's office, right?
Yeah, we have
It's
it all.
GIS, okay.
But it would just be, I could go to reports and I could go to equipment. Let's see, where's it out? Location listing reports. It's going to bring it up and then I can export that and send it to you.
And that'll tell all maintenance or anything that we do on these buildings, or?
Oh, I'm sorry. I went to everything, not buildings. I could run reports to show you that.
What?
But I mean, if you just look at a location, let's see. Well, let's do, I'll just pick, find one here. I can also locate specifically if you want to look for, let's do Justice Center. So if I want to look at the activity log for the Justice Center, it will pull up everything that's been done on there.
Okay.
And again, I could run reports for anything like that that you're wanting. An example of a report, let's say I've been working on the FEMA event. If I want to look to see what we've spent for that FEMA event that I've entered and sent to FEMA, I can go over here to the project number, which I assigned to the, was it 03? Now, I should know this. 2025-03. Well, where did it go? Oh, good grief. Let's do this. Sometimes it's a little particular on how you put stuff in. It's just a 25. Well, project name. Okay, hang on a minute.
Now, if that report went to all three of your road bosses, went automatically to them, is it hard for them to decipher whose area that it would be in?
No,
If,
no,
if,
it's-
if it just directly went to all three bosses instead of splitting it out to
right.
one?
Yeah, you can decipher it out pretty easy. Yep.
Okay.
So like the cost summary, this gets sent to you, the road, it breaks down how much money we've spent on each road from that time frame.
But I mean, as far as the work orders is what I'm asking is if the work orders went out.
Yeah, we can decipher that out pretty easy. Yep. That wouldn't be hard to pull them out.
Okay.
Yep.
I had another project or a report pulled up, so it didn't want me to do two of them at the same time, I believe was my problem.
Chris, just really quick, what you're saying is what we have on our current website, that you have it set up to where it's just sending her, once you click on submit, it's just sending Joyce or Pub Works.
Yeah, it sends
an
Public
email,
Works,
Public
yeah.
Works an email, okay. And then there is nothing you can do to have an automated response. Like the county cannot formulate an automated response.
Not that would be any value. I mean, I could I could possibly, I'd have to look and see, of sending back just to say, hey, your form was submitted. Now, the website says that when you submit the
Yeah,
form,
but
it says it
currently
was
it's not.
successfully submitted. But what they would get back, because it's not tied in with the system, they wouldn't know what the service request number is or anything like that.
Okay, and so if we added the module, I guess what I'm still trying to understand or see would be, or what I think I've heard him say is they only get a response email once it's submitted with the work order number. And then after completion, they get another one. So you get two responses,
my
automated
Notification
responses
that we received it and then notification
That it was completed or closed, yeah.
That's what
for
I,
$950 a year.
plus $1,250 upfront for.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
I just want to make sure I understood.
I can't find my stuff now. For some reason, it's got me locked up and it won't let me do anything.
And there's no way we could actually, when we open it, that we click on that send a message back to someone that,
You mean,
say I sent one in.
mhm.
And when Jesse or whoever opens it to look at the work order, that would give a message back to the sender that it was verified.
Not with our current, I mean, they could do it manually. The individual could click on the email. I believe Joyce does that with some things. But to have the individual to respond back to the email address, if one is supplied. We don't require that they put in an email address.
Is there a Pub Works viewer option for commissioners?
No,
You cannot just be a viewer.
there's not one of those.
Is that something we could ask for or no? It's just not an option.
I honestly, I mean, it's everything that they have this is their entire offering with Pubworks in this document.
What about G-Works? Did they send anything on G-Works?
No,
So Pubworks sold to G-Works.
Mhm.
Pubworks no longer exists if you're trying to purchase Pubworks.
I think that's true.
Okay.
They still have support. That's the only place, and you'll notice that email came from their support. It's the only place, I mean, I called and emailed and I tried, it took a long time just to get that. But their support does seem to be good. I know Nick calls them, to repair things or whatever, and they're real responsive support wise. This is the only time I've had any issue with them, which is more of a sales kind of thing. But they did finally come up with these documents. But yeah,
And you did have a contact. Didn't you say that you found a contact that you
yeah,
used?
that's who sent me this stuff.
I don't know why this is giving me such fits. Okay, I got a project to pull up, but I pulled up the wrong one, so let me get the flood damage one. Come on. Okay, there we go. It's pulling up the wrong one. I'm on flood damage here. Oh, I need to get that rid of that one. 2023.
And I also know that the mechanics use the fleet side of this for the maintenance. That's how they track hours and oil changes. I mean, they'd have to, I just know they use that version of Pubworks to track all that.
Now, do the operators put anything in as far as
I believe they do.
trouble reports with the equipment through this?
So
The operators do use it on their mobile app. If they see a down sign or something like that, some of them will go ahead and enter it themselves. Sometimes they'll call me, but most of them enter them themselves.
Yep. So the operators will put in their what they've done for the day on there, what they see. The mechanics put in what they've worked on throughout there. If they find problems, they'll either submit it themselves, like Joyce said, or they'll call Joyce and have that submitted in there, or they'll call one of the.
Equipment problems too?
Correct.
It goes in this too?
So the mechanics will enter in the equipment problems when they work on it. This was what we found.
But I mean, the operators, do they report it to the mechanic through this?
No. So it won't, if you put it in as a problem in there, it doesn't send it to the mechanic to say, hey, this is the problem on here. And so that's one thing that I don't think it does. It may do. But if they put in and say, hey, my grader's missing bushings on whatever, it's not going to send that to the mechanic so he can know what to do on that end of it. So you can put that in there saying this is the problem with the machine, but unless you go and physically tell the mechanic, he's not going to know, hey, this is what's wrong with this machine. So as far as that reporting in, it's still just call the mechanic and say, hey, this is what we got going on, and put it in. So
When the mechanics work on the equipment, they create a fleet work order. And if you go under the equipment, let's say they're working on a grader, this particular grader, you can see their work history out there on that grader that they've entered. And if you want to click on anything in particular, it will bring up what they entered on that repair. And the system will track the hours they spent, and then they add down here all of the parts that they put on it and what the cost was for that.
So we can pull a yearly report or a monthly report on any piece of equipment and tell what the repairs are,
yes.
What our guys have done, that's not going to count the outside vendors that work on them.
Now, do we track that anywhere? I mean,
On the outside vendors. So when Joyce will get those invoices, like when we sent the tractor down to get fixed, the one in Mound City, she'll get that invoice and scan those in, and then it will be attached to that piece of equipment.
it will be in a
Yep.
public report to where we can pull it up if we ask for repairs on that piece of equipment.
Correct.
It'll be there.
Yes. So we had to do that on the transport truck that we've got in Lacine. I needed to know how much money we had spent on repairs prior to that truck, where it had been, and it was all scanned in there. and the report was run of how much we had spent with the trucking company up north to get it fixed. So
Okay, so I need to make a statement on that. Like when I get the invoices, say it's Premier Truck or Emporia, Kenworth, when I pay those, that's under AS 400, under the invoicing side. Those don't get tied to PubWorks.
oh, they're not tied to
Now,
public.
if the guys order parts, the guys will put the parts in there, but if we pay a vendor to repair something, that is not in PubWorks.
How are we able to pull that up on that engine?
I would have to know who the vendor was, and then I could pull a report from AS 400
Okay.
on what we paid, but I would have to know who the vendor was.
Could you pull it off of the vehicle number or anything? I mean, if we have them numbered, if we did that, is there a way of pulling it off of the numbers?
In AS 400, I put in descriptions, so if I know it's for like unit 123, I will put in my description, unit 123, road 123. I would have to go in and run a report and look at the description to know what it was for. But again, if they order parts, they will put it in on the side, on their mechanic side when they repair it. But just to send something off to repair, I don't know of any way, unless Chris does, how we would tie those in.
Yeah, I think probably the best thing to do in that case is to enter have it put into the fleet on that and indicate that it was, outside work with a total value. And then PubWorks does allow you to attach scanned documents, so I would then scan that.
I would think it'd be a good idea to keep all records.
Well, it's actually pretty important that you do, because if you come back later and said, hey, we need to make a decision on selling this piece of equipment, with PubWorks, as long as you have the entire breadth of what was done to it over its time, you would then have all of the value of what the county had put in. If we're missing those major components where it was sent off somewhere else, you're missing thousands of dollars in that calculation for your decision. It would look like that mini excavator was $20,000 less in repair than what it actually turned out to be.
Right.
But, I believe that just like they're entering in the oil or the filter or whatever, you could make an item of, external shop work or something like that, put the total value so that the computer now knows we spent this much on this piece of equipment.
And the date it was spent or something.
Right.
Then you can go back and pull.
Exactly. And then you could scan into that record, that invoice. So again, it's all housed in PubWorks. It would still be over with the clerk's office and their payroll stuff or pay stuff, but it would still be in the database, so you could pull it up and reference it quickly.
And I will tell you that at one point, if we had fairly large repair bills, back when I had a public works office assistant, I would have her scan those larger invoices to the equipment record. Since I don't have any help, that has not been being done. It wasn't a requirement, it was just something that we did. So like, for example, on this particular grader, you have this more tab, and that's where all our scanned records are. So you can see, here's one, I can display the document, and I believe it's probably, I don't know why it's doing that.
So we haven't done that since 2022.
No, because that's when I lost my help, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, so if I get someone, I don't know why this won't open. It should let you to display the document. Chris, any reason why? You have any idea?
Well, of course, the computer she's using is kind of a floater. It's not her normal machine, so it would pull up on her machine a little bit differently, but
I have no idea.
it would just open up the PDF of the scanned document.
But it would be, yeah, the scanned invoice for that particular grader. But as you can see, we had several of those that we put in. This would have been a service for that equipment. They do it every so many years. There would have been an invoice for a battery.
I think the whole
This
point-
is a lot of hours, or a lot of manpower hours, to scan everything that comes through our office to the equipment record. And because I don't have any help right now, it doesn't get done.
Well, and the way it's set up now, everything you're doing is only accessible by yourself. So the whole point to me would be, so we as commissioners could look at that without having to have you pull reports. The whole goal
You would have to know how to do it though. I mean, it
Yeah.
would be like a whole training thing. It would be a lot. And if you're not in there all the time, you probably would struggle with it. That's my opinion.
I guess I'm just saying, like, no reason for you to scan it in if you're the only one, I guess.
But, like,
You're
if
gonna pull a
the-
file, right?
If the mechanics or the foreman would say, hey, do you know when we last got this equipment serviced or whatever? If we scan it out there, they would have access to pull it up as well. They wouldn't have to ask me. Because it's in PubWorks, they could go out there and find it.
How long have we used PubWorks?
Since November of 2017.
2017.
And is this something that Sean works on too, or is this just between you and?
Oh, I don't work on this. I support the underlying systems that run it, but I don't use PubWorks.
The whole goal was to just have better communication and transparency with the citizens that put in the ticket requests and they don't get response and they don't get any feedback from anyone that works for the county. So that was my whole goal in all of this, was to just communicate with the people that are living here and putting in these tickets. So I do feel like sometimes, let's just take Civic Plus. We needed a notification system so people knew what was going on outside of the newspaper. And then we did this plugin of Civic Ready, and it was what, $11,000, and here we are again trying to do. It's like we always do, like maybe like the baby steps to get to kind of what we want, but not fully what we want. And it just seems kind of like, yes, I want the plugin. I think that they should be notified, but at the same time, it's just, I don't know if PubWorks is the direction we really need to go. Central Square is something I'd like to look into. I don't know if John can make a workshop with Central Square.
So I think as we had talked on Wednesday, we did do demos, one with Central Square and another one with, it was called Cartograph. Both of those were excellent products, but the cost over what PubWorks, I mean, you're basically replacing functionality, but they are significantly more money
So
per
those
year.
have already been looked into
Hmm.
in 2017.
No, those were looked into last year.
Last year?
Last year or the year before. Yep. It was
Was
when
it presented to the commissioner?
I don't know. I didn't. It was when G-Works had purchased PubWorks, and they, quite frankly, surprised us with their transition, and they wanted us to sign a contract that there was some real technical issues that I had. There was some functional issues that the public works side had, but they were kind of trying to push us in a certain direction that we weren't comfortable with. And ultimately, we stayed with PubWorks. They still support PubWorks. It still does what, they've been using it for this whole time. Again, back in 2017, that was when Jackie Messer was here, and, they reviewed multiple products then. But prior to that, they were just using paper, and everything was submitted through paper. So PubWorks was leaps and bounds better. I can't tell you that there isn't other functionality that would be better, but I can tell you that at least what we're paying right now for PubWorks, it is by far going to be the least expensive. But, if it's not doing what you want, I mean, that would be however you want to address that. But it's the other options are high.
Bourbon County uses PubWorks as well.
Bourbon County is.
They switched to G-Works though, right?
It's pretty much the same thing, isn't it?
They're not. They're actually completely different platforms. So I don't know whether they officially. I know Bourbon County they bought PubWorks after we did, quite a bit after we did. But they were. I want to say it was less than a year since they had started up when the whole G-Works thing happened, and we had a bunch of meetings with the G-Works people, along with Bourbon County, and I think it was the city of Girard was using, and all of us had actually the similar concerns. But I mean, I don't talk to the Bourbon County Public Works folks. The last I had heard that they had decided to sign the agreement as it was supplied previously, but I don't know that for a fact. But I do know at the time they didn't do the mobile and those kind of things that we do. Whether they had that option, I don't know. But again, they were early. So, back in 2017, we didn't start with mobile. We had it, we purchased it, but we knew that we had to kind of work up. We didn't really get the tablets out to the people for, I would say, a whole year after getting that. And then that was a whole process, But things have definitely smoothed out over the last few years. And we're definitely seeing some benefit. The data that they're putting in now is useful because, when you're early in these systems, everything was paper before. So you're constantly trying to reference the old, apply it with the new. But, at this point, being that we've done this since 2017, and the value that we have now is it is electronic. But anytime you convert records, the conversion's never perfect. So there's struggles that go on with that. And if you were to, assess and move forward, I think you're going to be looking at a year before you would have something else in place. I know some of those big systems, when we asked them on the, during the G-Works contract time, the fastest they could get done was 6 months. And they were hesitant to even consider that.
What I think I'm hearing from you is that you'd like some way that the people to notify the people that it has actually been received. The work
That
order.
would be one
And-
part of it, but I also think our county is just using Publix is using, or our Publix is using Publix, the software. And then you have Kent's using a different program, and everybody's just kind of using something different. And I would like to streamline a lot of the permits and applications and things and look into other options. But what I'm hearing him say is that they've already done that. So it was a significant, I guess,
Cost
increase in
savings
cost.
done it the way is what you're saying.
Continuing with PubWorks is going to be significantly cheaper. I mean, at $3,800 of what we're paying right now, I believe you said, the upfront cost was 20 plus per year on those other products. Some of those were being used by Johnson County and some of those up north, and they were all great products, absolutely. The other thing that I will tell you with PubWorks is it's an unlimited base. What that means is it doesn't matter how many employees we have that are using it, how many tablets, how many PCs, it's one universal license. All of those others, including G-Works, they go to a level. So, I don't know how many employees we have with mobile, but if we had 30, well, we have to pay for 30. You hire 5 more people, well, we have to pay for 5 more licenses. Whereas with PubWorks, it's an unlimited. So, whether someday it's going to come, and maybe that's now. I'm just letting you know that the cost is going to be higher.
With the tablets that the guys have now, are we able to track their movements where they're out on the roads? And if we are, where does that plug? Where do you view that at?
So when they put it into the system, I don't know that she can show that up there, but
GPS?
it uses the GPS from the tablet to determine where they are at the time that they enter their work. So it shows a map on the tablet and it says, hey, if you're entering your work throughout the day, yeah, it's going to show you where you are at the time. So you can click on that road and add your work.
So there's a tracking and the
There is.
GPS in it to track everywhere.
There is, but it's for the data entry. It's not a live tracking. Now, there is the JPS product that we use for the radio, and it does track. I believe it updates its location every maybe 10 minutes as to where that device is.
So it can do live tracking?
Yes.
Possibility that we could add live tracking to the road crews now?
But live tracking to show where?
Where they've been?
Like on.
It does
On
not
the
track, it will not
road.
track, it does not track. It will show them where they're at, is all it does.
And then I was hearing him say, though, it would populate every 3 minutes or
Every 10.
minutes, it'll
10 minutes.
populate. So if they're here, 10 minutes later, they're over here, that's all it's gonna show. It won't show you that they went down X amount of roads.
But that's something that's viewable within the JPS system, it's not exportable. It's not something, if you're trying to show the public this is where the road grader currently is, it doesn't do that.
And Central Square does that. If you look on Johnson County's website, it will give you real time of where they're at with the snow plows, like every road they've been through. It was pretty interesting, but maybe too advanced for where we're at right now. But I just know those are a lot of phone calls, a lot of people calling. I don't know if they're calling you, but
I'll tell you what, actually, this one, I didn't get very many phone calls, and actually, I think you guys did a pretty good job this time. I mean, as far as,
We work a lot of late nights.
I tell you what, the blacktop roads was, in the area I drove, I'm just gonna say, in the area I drove, and I drive quite a ways, and I'll have to say the roads is pretty good this time.
I was at a wrestling tournament yesterday too, and Donnie White, he said, "Thank you very much." So you guys must have responded quickly to his too.
Well, like I said, I drive a long ways every day, and I'd have to say this time was as good as we've had.
I would like to maybe bring back up when Jason's here,
Okay.
on adding the plugin for,
Can we get the figure as far as how much we're spending on all these different programs? to
like
look at that
throughout the
number?
county.
Throughout the county, and come up with a figure, so we got an idea of.
So I'm sure we can. I don't. I mean, I work.
I know, I'm not saying.
Okay, I mean, I work with all of them, but I don't have those contracts. I usually they do make it to the clerk's office. I can't say that they all do.
Wonder how would we go together that?
Because I know,
mean, it's,
the sheriff's office, they use Pro
could you do
Suite.
that for us somehow, but through the different,
If we knew all the vendors, the names of the bills that we're paying out, we could pull up, the payments that we're making.
if we could figure out each department.
Each
the
department
vendors that they
had-
use,
And
and then we could look at the dollar figure of what we're doing is, like what I'm hearing you say is, we're using a lot of different programs and look at the total number.
I think we're just using Cloud and Publix, right?
For here.
because
What
you
else
have
do
to
we have?
take in the sheriff's department, every office.
I would say though that a lot of that software is pretty specialized. Like the sheriff's office, that's a massive platform.
Yeah.
And that's something
It's
that-
under Central Square too. That's the learning.
Yeah, it's their Pro Suite, but it won't. If you did, I'll give you an example. Like Central Square, they have multiple platforms as well. One of them being like an accounting platform, let's just say, which they do have, but they don't talk to each other. Like the sheriff's office software and that one, it's just two products that the same company offers. So if it is the best fit, then do that. I'm just letting you know that there's not one monolithic umbrella software that's going to do a lot of those things. Such as like with the cloud permit, I do know that Darren had reviewed 3 different platforms, went through all that stuff, and cloud permit was the one that looked like it fit the best bill for what the county's use was in that case. PubWorks, if there's additional functionality, I don't write it, so I'm limited. I can't just interface things, So if you want that built-in functionality, that price is what you'd have to do. Anything beyond that, it's going to become manual. It's going to be an individual doing it.
The other thing was on the Central Square, they had parks and recreation too. I mean, so you look at like the Ventec system out of the park, you look at cloud permit with planning and zoning. I'm not saying, I don't even know all of the programs.
What
we
I'm
use.
saying is, let's get all the dollar figure there and look at it. That's the only thing I know to do.
I think that we would just have to make a request from each department head and each office just to kind of put the numbers together.
Could
We
you
can
put
start with that.
Could you put an email out to everybody every program that they use so you get the names and see if we can't come up with a dollar figure as far as what we're spending?
And explaining to them what we're trying to accomplish, are you okay if I work with her on what
Yeah,
it
that's
actually
fine.
needs to say, and then we'll send it out to all 3 commissioners for approval? Is that okay? Okay. I don't want it to be confusing, so. Do you guys have anything else? Do you have any other questions? Joyce, are you
Don't
good?
really have, I mean,
Looks like you do a lot of work over there.
Like
You're
I
the-
said, if you want to come by sometime,
I will.
I can show you that it does what they put on the mobile side, what manual entries we do, what reporting we can run.
which I did pull up our FEMA report if you're interested. What I've submitted for FEMA is $1,912,540.61. So what we do, we set up a special project. The guys, all the crews tie their work with that particular project, and then we can run a report for that project number to see what our cost is. And I think someone asked about how we determine our equipment cost. I think someone asked that. So we go off of the FEMA
We've talked
equipment schedules, and they change it about every 2 years.
the cost per hour.
Yes, so like I had looked up a grader, their cost is $164.35 per hour. So we load that, when I set up the equipment, I will determine the equipment cost, and then I will load that under the equipment record. So I think I had one pulled up here somewhere. Now, again, I don't know if you can see this, but the FEMA code is entered. The cost per hour is entered. I inventory everything we have. So this barcode is our barcode tied to that equipment number. If I have the acquisition date, I put it on here, and the original price that we paid, I put it on here. Any of the old stuff is not out there because it was set up with the PubWorks originally. But I do try to add all that on here when I set up stuff as much as I can.
What were these?
You had asked about the phones.
Oh, yeah, that's another topic. Let's finish, before you leave, let's finish, are we good with the direction? The direction would be to have the clerk send out emails to department heads and offices on all of the programs that they're using, and if Central Square, another option through GWorks or PubWorks would be
We get our dollar figure spending, and then we can see if then look for other options. I mean, that's the only thing I know to do. If there's something that we can
I'm fine
always look at it.
looking at other options. So, I don't have anything else. I appreciate you guys coming in and taking the time to show us how it runs. I think that there's a lot of information in there that we might get phone calls on that would be nice to look at that and give them some answers. But I also understand why it's a bigger project than just maybe I just log in and look at something. There's not a viewer option, which would be nice to have, but in the meantime,
Just a lot of information in there that.
yeah, wouldn't want to mess anything up too. So, do you guys have anything else on PubWorks?
I don't know.
Jesse, you good on PubWorks? Okay. So I had asked about phone numbers whenever on the website, on the front page, the phone number, the 2668 for the county, it goes directly to ringing, and Rose answers the phone every time. It doesn't go to, and that's the phone number that's on the front page of our current website. And so she's handling a lot of phone calls coming in to the county that not necessarily should be probably going to her. And so I asked him to pull a report with all of the phone numbers that our county had. I'm not saying we should get rid of any of the phone numbers, but the phone number on the website I feel like should go to some sort of automated system where they can press to go to the right extension or the right location. Still an option to call directly, but if you click on PubWorks for an example, it can still go to you, Joyce.
I know Thursday and Friday, I got probably 50 phone calls. It was crazy. Some days it's not that bad, but other days it's like.
And you're taking those phone calls and you're, for the most part, transfer them to the correct location. Or are you taking
A
the
lot
phone
of them
calls for
just
you?
are for us, whether it's planning and zoning, road, people, looking for people in our office. Once in a while, I transfer them out to, other departments, but most of them are for us.
Do you have a way to pull up which phone numbers are taking in the amount of calls? That would be interesting to know. Would you be able to pull a report off of all of these numbers to see in a month how many times did their phone ring?
Yeah. So I can tell you that just looking at the CDR reports right now as a county, this is everybody, we average about 1,200 phone calls a day. Some days are a lot higher, but the average is 1,200. And as you
On every phone number?
that's everybody. So our
Goes through the dispatch.
yeah, well, so we manage the phone system. We built it ourselves, and it expands the whole county. It's the landfill, the marina, health department, emergency management, fire, sheriff. Every phone that we have is, I don't want to over exaggerate that because there are 2 senior centers, but that's because there's just no internet there. And it didn't make sense to add it just for a phone, but they do have phones. They're just landline phones for them. But, we handle all the phone calls for everywhere. And, many places we have, flow control. So it's a menu. Some departments you'll notice on here, there'll be stuff about, their hours. Some of them, they wanted the phone system programmed where between noon and 1, it told the public that, we're at lunch, call back at 1, and it does that automatically. We do the burn, allowed to burn or not burn message. That's an automated thing that dispatch handles along with emergency management and fire. So we program all of these, and they all have their own requirements and needs and desires, and we try to accommodate all that. So if you're wanting a menu, with a different number, we can do that. I don't know, however you want to structure it. Like 2668 is the clerk's office phone number. That is the phone number that just happened to get put on the front of the web page. I mean, we could remove it from the web page to where they would go to a department to look up the number. We could change the number to a different one because it's going to be a pretty extensive menu. If we said, press 1 for this, press 2 for that, it can get kind of long to get down to where you're wanting to go.
Yeah, I didn't know we had this many numbers.
Yeah.
Did you?
No.
And we actually used to have probably twice that many. Back when we first built the phone system, every department would have multiple phone lines for just them. The clerk's office might have had 2 or 3, but they were just for the clerk's office. The treasurer's office, the sheriff's office had like 10 or 12. So what we do now with the IP-based phones is we pay for a number of channels that are shared amongst everybody. So I believe we're doing 30 right now. What that means is we can have 30 incoming and or outgoing phone calls at a time, and we monitor that. So we've never actually went over 30. We've gotten close, 26 or so at a time. That's very rare, and actually that usually falls either during tax season, because there's a lot of people trying to call the treasurer's office, or elections. They're trying to call into the clerk's office. That's usually where those heavy ones come through. But we cut a lot of money out of the phone bills that first year, and we continue to, as we've expanded out. That first year, I know it was over 80,000 in savings just in the phone, because we also don't have any long distance by doing the way we do. And it seems to have been a very successful system, and it's still to this day, it's all up to date and going strong. And by doing it ourselves, we don't pay fees. So, if you outsource the phone system, you pay a fee per extension. We don't do that. If we get a request from a department, we know the only cost we have is the actual phone itself.
So we have 51 phone lines. Is
Yes.
that right?
Mhm.
We get 1,200 calls a day. I only know of the jail. Well, no, there's a few that have a menu. You've already set up a menu on a few.
Yeah,
One.
sheriff's office has menu. If you
Which
look
number
here,
for the sheriff's office has the menu?
2665.
2665.
Yeah. And actually 2666, that was the old. So we kept them both because the sheriff's office used to have 2 main numbers going in. But 2665 is the only one that's really used anymore. The IT department, we have a menu. Public Works used to, but they asked that to be pulled off. Planning and zoning. If you look on that column that says destination, anything that starts with IVR,
Oh,
that's got a menu.
okay. IVR menu. You see that?
Yep.
I don't have a solution. I'm just making an observation, and I had a few complaints about how confusing the phone systems are and how to get a hold of someone. thank you for pulling the information. Maybe we can look into it another time. I truly don't know what the solution is on that, but I just know for sure on the front page of the website that the clerk's office is getting hammered with a lot of calls, so. Could you pull in the meantime what the month of February looked like?
Mhm.
And, or just wait till, I guess, after this week, maybe? Pull it for February or?
Yeah, I'll give you 30 days. I mean, 30 days is 30 days, right?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
I just kind of want to get an idea and then just email that to us. You don't need to come back. I just kind of wanted to see how many calls they're really taking or versus other departments, which phone numbers really aren't getting used that much. Pub Works, I feel like they should have a menu. I don't know why was there a reason why we took that off? Because of all the different, there's GIS, there's planning and zone, all those things that are under Pub Works.
Pub Works is under road, I mean.
Yeah, so Public Works, actually, the way it was structured previously, Public Works is Public Works. It was the Road and Bridge Department. Not so much like all the departments underneath of that heading were, tagged under there. So when you would call the Public Works, that was to get a hold of Joyce or Sean or whoever. At one point that we had, because all the road shops, they have extensions off of our system, and the menu was, press 1 for Mound City Shop, press 2 for this. And I think maybe there was some confusion or something, and so they asked for that to be removed. They just wanted it to ring straight in, and that's what we did.
Okay.
I know the planning and zoning, that one they were getting a lot of phone calls about a topic. I don't even remember at this point. And so,
It went direct to the cell phone. Then
well, it still does, because there's an app that you can put on the phone that's part of the phone system. I mean, I use that all the time. That way, when you make phone calls or receive, doesn't matter where you are, if they call the office, it still comes through. But I believe the thing on that was there was just a lot of questions. Now, I know it was when Darren was here, so we put a menu choice on there so that they could pick that second choice, and it would sort of answer the questions instead of him constantly answering the same question. I don't know if it was a hearing date or something, but there was a menu there for that. But yeah, emergency management and fire, they just recently asked for a menu. We put that on, I think, last week. So now when you call, you press 1 for fire, it rings to Randy and Brian. And if you press 2 for emergency management, it rings Randy and Linda. So that way it kind of split that load. So Linda wasn't getting the fire calls, but that's what they asked for. So that's what we put on.
It's just interesting. Something to look into. If you can get that to us maybe next week sometime.
Sure.
Maybe we'll talk about it again in March.
Anything else?
You want to do phone system March 10th? Thank you. Thanks, Chris. I don't have anything else. You have anything else, Joyce?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day. We go into public comment and then do
yeah, we can do
Sean
public
later.
comment now if you want to. Anybody have public comment? You want to step up here and state your name?
My name is Zane Connor. The only thing I noticed was the program that you guys do have, the pub work or whatever it is. When it came to maintenance and all that, that'll be a great help for whenever it comes time to go and sell your machinery, because there's a lot of people nowadays that really want that past maintenance. And so whatever program you go with, whichever one's best, go for it, because that'll help a lot with getting a better payment on your machinery. So that's all I have.
Thank
I'm
you.
pretty sure that right now, when we do sell equipment, like a truck or a grader or whatever, the shop mechanics have a lot of those records that they send with the equipment when it's sold.
Correct. Yep. At least it kind of gives a person an idea of what they're getting. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Jesse? Before we get started, Jesse, and I'd like to say that I did think the blading was good, but like yesterday was a good day because I drove a lot of roads and the water was running and where the potholes are in the road, I text you. I mean,
Yep.
And I still think this morning would be an excellent time too, to have everybody look to see where the water was running in the road and in the potholes.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of them to fix.
We do. We got a lot of spots on the roads that are holding water
was running
that
down the road instead of in the ditches
Yep.
yesterday. I mean, but it was melting
was
fast.
melting fast, and we got a fair amount of snow last week.
It was a
So
good sign that it showed you a lot of things where
yeah,
the ditches were not working.
and that's one thing you and I discussed prior. That so there's spots
I
on the
know,
roads that are holding.
everything
And
I
that,
haven't talked about, but I was driving it yesterday and I sent you that text.
yeah, and I appreciate that. So
800 road, Jesse, that was the only road I was going to talk to you about.
well, you missed out. There's a lot of roads.
You
out there.
already know which one I'm talking about, so we can get
Yep.
back to it later.
Okay, your location cost summary was sent to you. Service requests from beginning of year to date, 572 created, 534 closed. There's 38 currently open. Just going to clarify that 38 that's open. There's a lot of those that are ones that came in from the bridge inspector that are slowly getting taken care of as we go through. So they're nothing that's detrimental to those bridges, but those are why there's that as many that are open on there. Activity cost report by location is 79% complete. This week, all the shops were dedicated to snow removal, getting salt out on the roads. We did on Friday get the bucket truck up to get it inspected, and it made it back down, so it is back here and ready to go. We have 2 graders here in the Mound City area that are going to have CAT do a service on them. These services take about a day to a day and a half on each one. And they go through a pretty extensive deal going through and servicing those machines. So those will be happening this week. The 900 road project, the bands were done and picked up, so we have those. So as soon as the weather clears up a little bit, dries up a little bit, I'll let you know when we get ready to start on that. Last week I'd mentioned about the single car accident down on Snyder Road. We will be fixing that guardrail this week, so that road will be back open hopefully here in the next couple of days. So, but that's all I have unless you have something for me.
I don't have anything.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Jesse. Kent, do you have something for us? Okay.
Just an update. This is the CUP 2501. They've been issued their building permit and their sanitation permit, so everything's good to go for that one. So it's ready for them to pick up or whenever they're ready.
Okay.
That for
That's for the
Tanglewood.
something
Tanglewood.
that wasn't signed last week. That's why we weren't able to get that to you.
We were able to get the dates and get it stand by the clerk. And
Okay, it's official now. Okay.
Yep.
That's
all
the-
done.
Got it. You'll need to.
Right.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Kent.
Sean?
Do you want to do executive? Sean?
Commissioners, I did speak to Mark Hagan. He is ready for you if you want to, yes, if you want to take a break and
Sorry.
I didn't even notice. You
he was ready for you whenever you were, and I'm available whenever.
Okay.
So I have 10 minutes legal with Chastity. Oh, did she take that off?
Yeah, she's got 10.
Sorry, it
non-elected.
said legal on. She changed it.
Does Sean have anything?
I have 10 minutes legal.
Sean has anything.
Okay, you got 10 minutes.
One item.
Legal?
On my agenda that needs to be scratched off. We can
Okay.
put that one in the legal.
Okay, so you got 10 minutes legal?
Yeah.
Mark, I'd like 10 minutes, Mark too, so it's 20 minutes legal with Mark. and the 2 commissioners, and then 10 minutes with non-elected personnel with Chastity.
I also have 10 minutes non-elected with Darcy and Danielle,
Non-elected.
and 10 minutes non-elected with Sean and Joyce.
So that's gonna make it 50 minutes total. We have 20 minutes legal. With, Mark, 10 minutes non-elected with Chastity, 10 minutes non-elected with Joyce and Sean, and then 10 minutes non-elected with, Danielle and Darcy. I make a motion, we go into executive session for 50 minutes total. We'll be back at, 10:10 or 11:10,
12.
50 minutes, right? Be 10, 11:10, right?
It's 10:22.
Okay. So it'd be,
It's gonna be 11:13 by the
Yeah.
time.
it's 11:13. Okay. That's my motion.
I'll second. Sorry. Yeah, I want to do that.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
I'm gonna keep track of. I'm gonna try to keep track of the 10, 10, 20.
No action from executive session. What we need,
We're gonna do 15.
15 with Rose and
Danielle.
Danielle and the two commissioners for 15 minutes for non-elected
No, legal.
or legal. Okay, legal. For 15 minutes. That's my motion.
Coming back at 11:31. I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Yeah, we need Sean back so we can finish. There was no action from executive session.
We met again, online with Fleet Management. I think they're getting ready to do a presentation, an overview, to see where we go from here and how we refine what we present to you in the future. Chippo update. I sent some documents to you. Apparently those documents told us that in 17, we may have received a grant, heritage grant for the courthouse, quite a healthy sum.
It was
And that-
90,000 is what you put, 90,000, right?
I believe that was the number. And that we also did some work possibly on the roof or on the roofing that we may not have turned in paperwork and got completely paid for. So basically, I need to do some work over the next week or two with them, find out where we're at with these grants, what our possibilities are. But as an end result, they have a grant available for us that would pay for someone to do all of the prep work and would pay for someone to do all of the background necessary to apply for the larger grants to go after the maintenance of the building. We would have to find someone to put in for that original grant that would pay for all of the prep work, all of the design work, all of the coordination with SHPO to do the major project. And we would have to find someone to put in for that grant if we wanted it. But there is money available to pay somebody to do all of that background work that we do not have the, or possess the knowledge or skills to accomplish. I do still want to work with them to find out where we're at and resolve any and all open cases that we've got with them.
What about the floor? Where are we at with it? What are we doing? Still waiting on this too?
Yeah, yes, and
Fix it?
well, with your permission, I'll put in with Randy for the floor in the gazebo. Now that we know about what grants were there in the past and where we're at, if we can separate the large portions of the courthouse, the roof, the building, all but the flooring in that gazebo, I think I can put in the paperwork, open up a account on their website, get with Randy and get those put in and make requests to do those.
Never
you-
fixed the.
I was gonna say, do you have a photo of the completion of covering the boiler, steam, exhaust pipe in the rafter? Do you
Yes,
have a picture of it?
yes.
Is it in the share drive?
No, it is not. I got it on my phone and I'll have to convert it, which normally means it has to be put into paint. It's a difficult process, but I'll get that out as soon as I can. It normally,
So fixing the floor don't bother with the grant money, and we can go ahead and fix the floor and get it taken care of without.
I think we can make an application. The floor's simple enough. We can repair it. Now, will it
match the rest of the flooring, and will we have to put in for a larger grant to do that? Yes. Will we have to do more work? But I think we can make the floor walkable and take the hole out and get it approved.
Would you like to fix it? No, or would you?
I'd
wait?
like confirmation that the boiler was covered, the boiler exhaust was covered, because the last time I looked, it was a cardboard box put over it. I just went down there last week.
If
I-
you'd
it's
like,
fine. As long as
I
it's
can
done, it's
grab
done.
my
That's
phone.
great. I was there last week. I toured the entire courthouse. I just want to make sure it's completed. That's all I had for that. As far as like moving forward with the floor, I would like to know if we have any extra, I guess, do we have any extra wood, the planks that match the actual flooring that's in there now?
I'm being told that
basement?
this is fairly standard size.
Okay.
When I talked to Randy, he
Okay.
said, match, the wood was not a problem, matching the color.
Right.
He said,
Okay.
he said, he thought the wood issue wasn't a problem at all, is what Randy told me when he looked at it the first time.
I mean,
And
think
that's what he
a couple
told me.
weeks ago, you just said that we had to have the entire flooring approved by SHPA. So what I'm hearing is now we don't. So we're okay with moving forward with fixing the floor.
What I'm saying is we can ask to fix the floor, to make it safe and cover it. Then in this larger scope of the grant, where I'd like someone to plan the whole reconstruction of what needs to be done to rehab that building, coloring that floor and matching everything would be a part of that, because that is a much larger project than just getting it to where we can walk on it and sealing the floor. I mean, I think what we need to do is fix the floor so we don't have a hole in it.
That's what to get it to where the heat didn't come to it and get it fixed for you.
Yeah, just make
I
sure
mean,
that
it might not match, but at least you don't have a hole in your floor.
Well, there's the health aspect too.
as long as the exhaust is fixed, you're good with moving forward.
Yeah.
I think that's the direction I'd like to go to. I'm fine with that. Do we need a motion or?
If you just tell me to go ahead and put in for the flooring, and the gazebo is not a part of the historical courthouse, although they would like us to put that in so they could look at it because it impacts it. Randy's found some parts, but not all of the parts needed to fix it. And I believe he's scheduled next week to come in here, next week or the week after, and speak to you about all of that. But hopefully by then we could have this at least applied for.
Okay. I mean, looking through the SHPO letter that was sent to you in 2009, 90,000 was a grant that was given to Linn County, correct? It says, I didn't look this up previously, but I found today that Linn County Courthouse received a Heritage Trust Fund grant in 2009 of $90,000 to repair the North Tower, South Tower, and gable east and west dormers, and some of the roof, including some interior repair of ceilings, floors, and walls. I don't think that we would still have this application on file, but let me know if you would like me to look into, or if you'd like me to look into further information about this project. So I guess my question would be, did those repairs happen?
And that's what I would be researching.
Okay. And then in 2017, Jackie Messer did the application after a site visit from SHPA. And they did not receive any. So they received the application, but it's showing as unfinished.
What I was seeing from that is if the work has been done, the county can apply to close the project out and receive their credits.
And we only have a few years. 2027 is the last year. It would expire in 2027. So whatever Jackie Messer had previously put on the application, we need to print that out, go over that, and make sure if it's completed, we take pictures and get that back to Katrina to get a payment.
Okay.
All right? Is that how you're understanding that?
That is my understanding.
Received the payments, what you're saying.
No, because we never followed up.
That is my understanding. But again, in order to receive the grant to do the prep work for the whole building, we would have to hire somebody and pay them to do that grant work. I don't know at this point if they have the background, if we find someone with a background with working with historical preservation and putting in for those grants, if we allow them to communicate and work with historical preservation, or you continue to ask me to do it while I'm working on
Well,
those other projects.
I think number one, we need to finalize the 2009 grant and the 2017 open application. That's number one.
Make sure we got that done and get paid for
Let's
what we
get-
did for that.
That's all our focus truly needs to be on, is finalizing, I feel like, that 2017 open application. We already have an open application. They've come down here, they've given us the assessment to Jackie Messer. She toured the entire courthouse. Let's get that information again. She's saying she can come if she needs to, but she's already saying she's been here, is what that's how I'm.
That's what I'm taking, yes.
Okay, so the information that we were originally requesting feels like it's already been done not that long ago. So we're ready to move forward. As far as the grant writing, I would just say I did reach out to, so when Jessica was here, there was a time where we were paying, I don't know if we were paying or if it was included in something that Jessica was doing for a grant writer.
Yep.
And so I had Chastity where she's looking into the Southeast Kansas regional planning to see if that is where we had that grant writer. I think they were out of Iola. I'm not 100% sure, but I remember the county paid for a grant writer, an annual fee. We have a grant writer and we never utilized the grant writer much, I would say. I think it was around, I don't know if that's something you can even look up. I don't know. Actually, I don't know the name of the grant writer, but I just know we had someone. So I'm going to have Chastity look into finding where that grant writer was at. But yes, I agree with you. We need a grant writer, or we need to get people through possibly even like the historical committee through EcoDevo and finalize, like look at the grant and figure out how we want to write for that. Before we spend a lot of money hiring a grant writer, I want to know if the county's already paying for one. That's what I would like to know. So I think for you, where I would like to give you direction would just be finalizing, coming back with that 2009, making sure, double checking we got the $90,000 in the clerk's office, and then also finalizing the 2017, which would require taking photos and getting that back to Katrina so we can get that tax credit application finished.
Okay, we'll have to find the scope of work. It's going to be somewhat involved to find what scope of work we were supposed to do and to get photographs of that. And I will work on that to try to get the answers. At the same time, are you wanting me to work with Randy to get the flooring and the applications and things for the gazebo and the flooring and get that going?
Yeah, I mean, I thought Randy's supposed to be in here on March 3rd to go over that.
Do you want to
It's on the
put
agenda.
gazebo in the historical? Or keep it separate?
It has to stay separate, I thought.
That's what I'm saying. So why can't we move ahead?
Well, I'm just telling him it's already on the agenda for March 3rd.
That's what I'm getting at is I don't think we even have to worry about that.
The only thing the historical said was, you're right, it's not a part of the courthouse, but they would like to see the plan because aesthetically it affects the building behind it.
And
They're not saying that they have governance over it. But they would like, as a courtesy, to see that plan.
If Randy's coming in next week, he can show us what we're doing.
That's what I thought. That's why we put him a few weeks out when we scheduled Randy, so he would be coming in on March 3rd prepared with some sort of idea of what materials we were using.
Do with the two.
So I'm okay with Randy coming in, but he's supposed to be prepared on how we're fixing the.
And I will try to have our account set up with them so that once we have that plan, I can type it in and we can get that approval going.
And then as far as the grant you're specifically referring to on Department of Commerce, can you give me the name of the grant you're wanting us to potentially apply for to do the repairs to the courthouse? Do you remember the name of it?
The one that we're applying for to do the work,
The one that you are asking for a grant writer for, what is the name of the grant? Do you know the name of that grant?
Historical Preservation Fund grant is the one that we would apply for first, that would give us the money to do all of the prep and background work for the larger grants and the whole remodel or plan, including tax credits, the whole 9 yards. So my understanding is the first grant only gives us the money to do the paperwork and the background work to apply for those tax credits and those secondary grants that would pay for the actual work and the construction.
I just think that there are multiple. Just wanted to see if you could get with Katrina, because there's the HEAL program, there's the Historic Economic Asset Lifeline. There are multiple grants, so I just want to make sure I know when we're reaching out to the grant writer, we know which grants we're trying to apply for, because I think a lot of these deadlines are coming up in March too.
Yes.
I mean, it's
They are
quick. Like,
coming
I
up.
need to know probably.
They are coming up quickly.
I think some of them are closing on March 7th. So it's, that's 2 weeks. So I needed to know, we're trying to do it this right now, or this year, 2025. The grants need to be applied for within a couple of weeks.
Can you
So,
get the grant written up?
well, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
I find that hard to believe that that happens.
Person we've been working with previously, was paid $5,000. Her name is Susan Gale.
When was that?
From the SEK Planning Commission.
So we paid Susan Gilmore $5,000 annually from Southeast Kansas Planning Commission.
It was a one-time payment.
One time.
And it said every.
Was that on the housing?
Yes.
So we used her for, we paid her, okay, what did we pay her for? I'm sorry, I
Is
don't
it
understand.
if Darcy explains it? She has more
Yeah.
knowledge.
You're good.
We paid her because we were gonna file for the MIH grant, the moderate income housing grant, but we couldn't find a contractor.
The MIH grant for the courthouse?
No, moderate income
Just
housing.
housing.
Yeah, so we couldn't find a contractor. So she said we could use her on another grant. So she has that.
So it's still open and
It's
you'd
still
like to work, okay.
So she still has $5,000.
She still has $5,000.
Do we have a contact?
It's Southeast Kansas
Planning
Planning
Commission,
Commission.
okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
Jeff
we
can't
can-
help that, but it's Southeast Kansas Planning Commission. So.
Okay, well, that's good to know. That
And I would almost have to agree with Mr. Johnson that if we've got a 2-week window,
Yep.
that we may, because we have to, in order to apply for the grant, get all the prices, get the estimate of what's damaged, get the project list of what we're going to replace it with. There's a lot of information that grant writer is going to have in that 2 weeks. And I'm not for sure that we don't fix the floors, take care of the immediate necessities, and put this together to apply for a grant.
I
And
would
have it-
agree to the extent that what I'm asking for it would be the specific grant we're trying to write, so I can look it up, so I can tell you what the deadline is. Like, I don't know what grant we're applying for, so I can look the specific grant up and get the application deadline. That's what I'm looking for.
You
So I
wanna
need to know
what
the
grant-
name of the
what
grant.
grant we need to apply for to fix the.
And I'm on it now. I just don't know which one you were thinking. Are you thinking that we would use? I'm looking at the HEAL grant. I'm looking at, there are multiple on here. I just didn't know if you had specifically talked with Katrina Ringler about which one we should be applying for. I can name them off if there's historic economic, like, okay, there's the HEAL grant. The HEAL grant is due. The maximum amount for the HEAL grant was $100,000, 100%. And it needs to be submitted by May. So I mean, that would be something I'm not willing to say no, we're not going to do it if it's not, the grant isn't due until May. I feel like we have time. But if it's March, yeah, I've got
Right.
an issue
exactly.
with.
If we got time to do it, we can do it this year.
Then I'm going to have to pull up her original emails. All I have is printouts of those, and I'm going to have to pull up the original emails and tell you the exact name of the grant.
So you'll have that for us by next week. And
Well, and even if you don't mind, if you could just email that to me, I can start working.
I
on this.
I can do it
I don't really
soon,
wanna wait.
soon as I get to my computer.
And I might look into, have Chastity maybe look into who this lady is, see how much, what she's capable of writing to, if that's okay.
so
The key is how much information would we have to provide her? Would we have to have estimates on damages? Would we have to have estimates on repairs, or how much information, how quickly would we have to provide that?
Okay. So finish confirming we have 2009, 90,000, finalized 2017 open application. And then I need the name of the grant you want us to try to apply for. And then make sure you get with Randy on the flooring and gazebo to present next week. That's, I think that's where we can start. And then we'll try to touch base on the grant on Monday, if that's okay.
Okay.
There's a lot to.
It's a list. And in that, just for your own knowledge, not a concern or a complaint, just for your own knowledge, when we go after these things, because I'm working on them pretty much by myself, we're 1 day in here and 4 days to get it done. And the last of those 4 days is I'm typing up the Monday report. So understand, and these people have their own schedules too. So when I come back to you and say, I've got movement or I've got a little bit of movement, it is very difficult in a 3-day window to try to make appointments and communicate with people that have their own schedules. So I will diligently work at it, but it may take some time to get all this information piled together. I sent you a bunch of information on Devlin Road to catch you up that you had asked for.
Yes, I did, because there was a concern brought to me on striping again, on why we did Devlin Road and not another road.
Everyone's not black.
Um,
That's the one we talked about.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, Devlin. I'm sorry, that you're right. I'm sorry, I'm looking at this. It was for the application. It was for the cost share program. So last year, I think she tried to do the cost share program.
We looked into it.
And we looked into it, and I think it was too late, possibly, or something. But anyway, I had the application for the 2025 cost share. So is that something we do regularly? Have we ever applied for a cost share?
I can't say ever, based on the short time I've been here.
Okay.
But I can tell you that I've not been involved in one that I recall.
Through KDOT? Okay. Can you look into the next couple weeks for the cost share program?
Cost share on 1077. Remember we on the cost share on that? On 1095, I mean, not 1077, but 1095 is a cost share.
1095 was Irish Rural Roads Grant. Yeah.
Grant, we're on a cost share on it, but I don't know about that.
And the only reason it applied was because its statistics made it qualify.
Right, because of the current corners and
the number of accidents and things made it qualify for that money.
I'll look into it as well, but I'm trying to find extra money to possibly do some sort of cost share program with KDOT to complete the Devlin Road project. There was a concern about it last year when she brought it to the commissioner's attention.
Well, we went in and checked and what
Yeah.
it cost, it was
It was too much.
too much to spend what was it took for.
And I think I sent those numbers to you as I found them in the minutes and stuff.
So, can you just put Devlin Road on your list of things to possibly look into with the cost share program? And when that application would be due? I'm just looking, just briefly, it looks fairly simple. 14-page application, 2025 applications are out right now. There's an application link. They're available February 17th through March 27th. So that would be something we would need to submit rather quickly. If that's something, maybe we could go over that Monday, but
So is that the due date that you were wanting me to acquire for that program?
no, I'm just reading off of KDOT's website that the cost share application for 2025, it's available February 17th through March 27th. For a county to apply to have a cost share on a road, or
Is that an overlay or is it a new?
well, it could be anything, I'm pretty sure. It shows there were 71 applications submitted last year requesting over $49 million. Only 7 projects were awarded for a total of $5.9 million.
Okay.
I mean, it's just another
Avenue to go.
possibly, if it's not. And that was actually, that's for the fall. They do fall and spring for the cost share rounds. It's the Kansas Joint Legislative Transportation Vision Task Force recommended that the Kansas Department of Transportation look at ways to leverage state funding with local and private funding for projects related to job growth or retention. The cost share program provides financial assistance to local entities for construction projects that improve safety, leverage state funds to increase total transportation investment, and help both rural and urban areas of the state improve the transportation system. I mean, I feel like it fits with her argument of where her location and transportation to hospitals and.
Okay. So you're wanting me to look up the due date for the grant for that?
No, I'm telling you the due date. I'm sorry. The due date, the application cost share round, it's only open, the application link, February 17th through March 27th.
Okay. So you
So
need,
2025.
and you
So
were needing me to do what with that grant?
I would just say, like I said, Monday, we can go over it with Jason. It would have to be something if we would ask you to submit the application
For the
Devlin Road.
To see if it was available and how much money was available is what you're asking for.
And so when I asked for all the paper or all the documents that you had previously gone over, I think with the landowner, I just wanted to kind of go over it because I obviously wasn't a commissioner at the time. So I kind of wanted to see what she was wanting and then how much that was going to cost. So,
Well, to finish that discussion on the timeline, my recommendation would be, if you gave me direction, would be to ask me to contact the state and make sure that the state did not have any caveats or requirements that say we wanted to chip and seal this road or hard surface it and do it in the most economic way possible. And the state said, we don't do that. it requires a complete overlay and you would have to spend this, making your share of this quite a bit more than, my question to you would be, if you want me to do anything productive for that meeting, it would be find the parameters of what the state is willing to do and not to do in that grant, so that we don't apply for something and get told, yeah, you can have the grant, but that grant will only pay for this, and your percentage of that is going to be so much higher than you thought it was going to be. Because asphalting it is much more than chip and sealing it.
It just says right here, eligible projects, construction projects addressing important transportation needs such as promoting safety, improving access or mobility, and improving condition or relieving congestion. All transportation projects are eligible, including roadways on or off the state system, rail, airport, bicycle, pedestrian, and public transit. I mean, I can send you this link to all of the details regarding this particular cost share program, if you want me to.
If you'll send it to me, like I said, I'll reach out to them and find out, because of
Find
it.
out and see if this road's eligible and what it takes to, whether it is a chip and seal type of deal or if it does completely.
If it's passed through money from the feds, then we have to make their standard.
Right.
If it's state money, we have to make their standard. So we need to know what standard we're working off of. But
I'll probably give us that answer.
I'll be more than happy to bring that to the meeting and make that phone call.
Did we have any other roads that I'm forgetting that people haven't reached out to me on regarding that we could?
One I've been.
Devlin Road?
Devlin, that's the one that's been brought to our attention. I don't know.
Let's just focus on Devlin Road right now, and if you can reach out to KDOT regarding the cost share program, come back on Monday, if that's okay.
Okay. Next thing I had was Hidden Valley. At this point, we'll be hearing from the manager next week. Hopefully they'll be in to have a conversation with us, update us on what their board's concerns are, and we can move on with that project. I'm not sure of the direction, but I think we're going to get some movement and cooperation next week.
We can talk about that at 600 Road too, because it's the same association, and they're doing the same thing right into our county road.
I'll do the background on that so we can have everything at one time. Next thing I had was to go out to bid for an on-call engineer firm. I just need your permission to go out and put an RFP out and bring it back to you to get an on-call engineering firm, because we have several projects that are waiting.
And Caw Valley resigned from us, right? Okay.
I have that in writing.
I'm good with that. Are you good with that? Go out for on-call engineer. There's resigned.
I'm fine with going out.
Okay. I meet with the dealer on the 953C tomorrow. Camp Tire and Recycling advised us that they're going up 15% a ton, I believe was the increase this year for our tire disposals. You have a rather long narrative from our noxious weed director catching you up on where he was at with noxious weeds. If you'd like, I'll go over that. If not, I had one more item. Do you want me to go through the noxious weeds, or did it suffice just having it there to inform you?
Well, I think that we're both on the same page I think we've had comments of him not having a lot to do in the winter and trying to find some things for him to do. So I was a little disappointed that this wasn't taken care of when I read it on the.
Yeah, you're meaning the testing? No. I understand that he's there and he tries to finish up the year-end paperwork. And then Carl moves over to the landfill for that time frame. And it makes it somewhat difficult. I will get with Johnny, and I was unaware that we did not have our credit hours to make this and check to make sure we get it relicensed.
Is that something he submits, or does he give that to you to submit?
Something he submits, the credit hours?
Yeah. Does he
No,
give
that would
to
be,
you?
that would be something you go to a conference because you have a license. You're entered in under the conference under your license, and they just add it back to your license. They add those credit hours to your license. So I generally would not see those, just same as my wastewater license if it wasn't me on the license.
We should have verification that he has that somewhere, right?
That he has that certificate? Yes, it's in his employee file.
So we know that every year, that is something that has to be updated, that he has his certificate every year.
I don't know that it's every year. Mine's every 3, but there is a timeline. It's 1, 3. Yeah, there's a timeline.
And the only way that he can keep that up to date is by attending conferences to get credit hours? Is that what
To
you're saying?
get credit hours, yes.
So he would have known where he was at. And is he being denied going to any conferences that he needs to keep his credit hours up?
I haven't denied any
Okay.
conferences.
I didn't know.
No.
So he'll be going March 3rd through the 6th. Is he going with, or is he going by himself, or?
I believe from what I'm reading here that he and Carl are going together and applying to take their applicator test at that point.
That's an annual test?
I'll have to look as to whether it's annual or it's biannual or it's every 3 years.
Okay. So he got it? We're good now? Or he has a license or no?
We're waiting to,
Waiting
he's
for
waiting
the
to take the test and
Okay.
go to the conference and take the test.
Okay. Do you have any other comments on that one?
I don't have any.
Okay. You can go.
The last thing I had was from Mark, and it is the agreement for the compactors. And he's telling me that the compactor agreement has been agreed on by all of the cities. It's something that we've all been working the last week or two pretty consistently on. And that if you agree to this, we can push it out to the cities, get it signed, and bring it back to you.
I have read through this multiple times, so I'm fine with the final draft.
I'm good with it. I read it.
Okay, so you're okay with me taking it out to the cities and presenting it to their councils?
Yeah, so my understanding is, well, Pleasanton and Lacey have agreed to the final draft, and now that we have the final draft, they're going to go back out.
Have to go back out to
All the
everybody else
cities
now
again.
because it's actually changed as far as who is on the permit is one big.
Yeah. So do you need a motion that we approve the final draft, or you want to just go?
I'll bring it back to you once it's signed. So as long as you agree to me taking it out to city councils and offering it to them, I think we're fine.
Just kind of explain the situation, and there was, just
And then
bring it.
once I bring it back, you'd
Okay.
make a motion to sign all of them, is my understanding.
I'm fine with that. That sounds good.
I'm good with that.
Commissioners, that's all I had for you today.
I don't have anything. Thanks, Sean.
Danielle, you have anything else?
I do have a resolution.
Good.
The sheriff would like to sell a few assets.
Do you want to read it?
Read that.
Oh,
Let you
wait.
read it.
All right. Resolution 2025-05. Declaration of surplus property. Be it resolved, whereas the following property from Linn County Sheriff's Office be declared as surplus property. 2019 Dodge Durango. Ben, do I need to read the Ben? Okay. And firearm, serial number A35826. to be sold to the highest bidder of 2 local registered gun stores with funds to be deposited into general funds. Approved and adopted this, well, I guess we haven't approved it yet, but you want to redo that?
Yeah. Is
So
that
a
your
firearm and a 2019 Dodge Durango, that's my motion.
Resolution 2025-05. That's your motion.
That's my motion.
I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye. We've received 2 applications for county counselor. Would you like to start interviewing, or do you want to wait another week? Or start setting
Let
up?
me see if I can get, I don't care if we can start if you want to. I'm supposed to try to set up a date for that one, but if you want to set up a date, it makes no difference. I mean, we can start setting them up. if you
Maybe
want to.
start setting these two up, just because they're attorneys, they might have a different
Right.
schedule and
Right.
they may not
If
even
we
be
got
able to be
time,
here. Yeah.
I'm good with setting them up if you.
Are you okay with setting those 2 up for us?
I can do that. Would you like them to be on the same day if possible?
I don't know. That doesn't bother me, but what I would like, does the HR department, do they provide the questions and different things? Like they usually give us a packet, right? So I get the packet, the resume, application, some questions, things like that. We'd kind of briefly talked about this, and so kind of coming in with like, and this may not even apply to this particular position, but that would be another question I would want to know. What are the options for us? HR provide like keepers or benefits or health insurance. I know we've done it different ways with the counselor position before, but we might have to, I just want to know what we have. And then also like have like a packet available just for general interviews that would have where to go. Like if they are hired, I want to be able to show them like our address. And
How are you thinking? Do you want somebody here every week? I mean, is that what your idea is, or do you want?
I think it's just going to depend on how the interview process goes. I think a lot of people have seen like Zoom in or be available on phone
That's
calls.
what
I think
just setting through it. I think if we could have somebody that if we need them, if we needed a Zoom or a conference,
like an on-call.
or if we seen that we was going to need them for the commission,
Right.
that they would come to the meeting. If we gave them 2 weeks in, or a week in.
So since this one's a little bit different, we look at like the pay matrix. That's another issue. We'd probably have to adjust the pay matrix again because it's not exactly what we want.
That'd be another thing that we'd have to go off of the hours that we're looking at, or the pay per hour. Is something that the one I've talked to is, and they've done it for Miami County, and they said they just go off an hourly rate. That's what they do for the hours that they work.
So maybe next Monday we can go into executive session and we can all talk and discuss about, just different ways or options we would have to hire someone. What are our expectations for the county council? Like when they come in here, are we okay saying they only show up physically here once a month? Or are we okay with twice a month? And if it's twice, what pay scale are we at on that? Are we going to pay hourly? Are we going to provide any benefits? Just where are we at on what we want for that
I
position?
think what's something we'll find too is that they will tell us, as far as they want.
Yeah.
That's what whether it's an hourly rate, what they want.
So this may not be something that I really need exactly what I was trying to ask for on this particular interview process, but others, when you bring people in, it would be just nice to open up like a little folder, just
10
this
to
is
15
who we
questions,
are.
The generic questions that we could ask everybody as
But also providing something to the person we're interviewing of like who we are, a little bit of history.
and what their job title is, as far as what we.
So an onboarding.
Exactly. And also the job description and kind of where it falls.
Exactly,
on the pay
their
scale.
job entails,
Because a lot of people will ask where we're at as far as pay, and I feel like that should already be listed on what line we're even on the matrix for that particular job. So that works. Do you have anything else?
I don't know. That's,
Oh, this is yours.
what else?
Is all I have, commissioners?
You have anything, Ally?
I think everything else will wait for next week with Jason.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.